I don't like to be like that. And welcome to Reason to Talk, presented by Central Triad Church and also Reason to Win. This is my lovely wife,
Candace Beeman.
And guess what, guys? We have two lovely guests that I truly love. Been known for like 12 years. We have the lovely was for you.
Oh, am I supposed to speak?
It heard you. And to Candace's left is
Joy Brown.
Hey, just to add the sound effects to that.
And I'm David Brown.
Yes, two lovely individuals. Today we will be talking about marriage and ministry, the balance. Yes, and it's gonna be a good time, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Can y'all briefly tell the viewers who you are? Because someone don't know who you are.
I'm Executive Pastor David Brown here at Central Triad Church, and this is my lovely wife, Pastor Joy, who assists in that role as well.
How long you been in ministry?
Ministry is coming up on 29 years. Actually, just celebrated my 29th anniversary.
Wow. And I'm 37.
Yeah, don't talk about that, man. You make me feel old.
I was 8, bro.
I preached my first revival when I was 19 years old.
Wow. That's good.
And then about 5 years of evangelistical stuff, and then 22 years of student pastoring, and for the last 2 has been the executive pastors here.
Wow. How long y'all been married? No, y'all say it at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
29 years. Actually, we're both right. It's 29 years in May.
And 28. We're only 28.
We're in 28. It's 29 in May. So, yeah, I'm already looking ahead to May.
And what was the title again?
Hey, good catch. Good catch, Pastor David. What a way to catch that ball, man.
Yes, I'm already looking at May. I don't know why. Okay.
So our subject today is marriage and ministry, the balance. So we're gonna let the Browns talk about their story. Let's start off with how y'all met, and then take it from there, right? Because y'all got something great to share. In Reasons to Talk, we want to push the family. We know the family is the foundation of this nation, period. So if you want things to change, you got to start with the family. And some people that I have talked to, me and Candace have talked to counseling, and a lot of people want to look at other marriages, and they got to realize that it took a struggle. It took perseverance to push to get where they are. Mm-hmm. And everything ain't Disney, all right?
Yeah, that's true.
Just not, So we're going to start off and let them talk a little bit, and we can interject, just in case they say some stuff that didn't make any sense.
That's possible. That is possible. Very possible.
So we can start off with how did y'all meet? Pastor
you're asking me first?
Yes.
Church.
Yeah.
That's a good place.
Yeah. I was already working with the youth, 100 years ago, and
yes,
he was raised here, and I was here since probably 3rd or 4th grade.
Now, where's here?
Oh, I'm sorry, Central Triad.
Yes.
So we've been here for that long, so that's how we met.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I was playing this over in my head last night when you sent us the questions of different things, and I was sitting there thinking, and I would talk to her about different girls that I was talking to, and
bees like that.
Yeah, and asking opinions and so on and so forth, and then the next thing you know, we ended up going out on a date, and I guess the rest is history. So, but yeah, it was kind of interesting the way all of it unfolded. how you went from asking advice and counsel to end up actually dating.
So she kind of knew what you like and knew what not to be.
I like that.
Yeah.
Or she didn't care. One or the other.
I think I'm gonna get something to
You
drink
get what
now.
you get.
It is what it is, people.
I love it. So, I can't see.
You jive, baby. When they get married.
Oh, so when did you guys get married?
How did it happen?
Like, how did it happen?
Well, it was an interesting. It was a very bad way that I asked for her hand in marriage. It was not good. I was 19. Excuse me. We got married at 19. I did. I was 19. So I guess it was probably 18 when I asked her. And I was from a home where I didn't really see a lot of, I guess, the way love should have been shown. My dad left when I was very, very young. And then my stepdad didn't really see a lot of stuff there. They were, both good in their own ways, but I didn't learn a lot of that love and affection, if you will. So learning that, I guess, was an absent part of my life. So to ask her hand in marriage, it wasn't nothing huge and elaborate and all this kind of stuff. It was I had the ring underneath the seat in the car, and I went by and picked her up, and she came and sat down in the car, and I reached in and I got the ring and I handed it to her and said, "Would you marry me one day?"
One day.
And I said, yeah, one day.
See, now these days you say that. You say, "Will you marry me one day?" These days, that could be 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and so
We're talking about back in the day.
Yeah. Well, it was still wasn't good back in the day. Lord Jesus, I would not encourage anybody to do it that way. But I didn't really know how to do certain things. I hadn't been taught that, and so. So then, we were engaged for about a year, and then we ended up getting married in May of '92. And so, yeah. So.
What was going through your mind when he asked you?
Yeah. Did you see it coming? Were you expecting it? Or?
No. I always, this is horrible. Might have to edit this one. I always said I wasn't ever going to get married. It was like, I'm never going to get married. I'm not, no big deal. I'm not going to get married. And then when he asked me, I was like, okay, yeah, one day. And then it was like, did I just say yeah? And then it was, I don't know. It's just strange because.
You were what age at that time?
21. We're a year and 10 months apart.
Okay.
So, yeah. I probably wasn't supposed to say that.
Do the math, y'all.
If you're like me, you don't know that. What was the question?
Oh yeah, how you felt?
I don't. Honestly, this is. To be honest, it's so long ago I don't remember.
It was kind of surreal.
It was. Right. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. I think we just got engaged, and so it just happened. I don't know.
The one thing I do remember is she walked inside the house and she showed her dad, and her dad looked at the ring and he turned the volume on the TV up wide open.
Yeah, and Mom was like,
that was his response.
And so I didn't have a moment to really be excited because it was like, oh, that just happened, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'm engaged. It was just weird.
Yeah.
So, it was a question that I ain't supposed to ask, right? What do you see? What do you see to make you want to say maybe? That's basically what you said, right? Kind of like.
Are you asking me?
Yeah. What do you see in Pastor David at the time that you like? That could be my husband. You can be truthful,
Okay, the honest truth was my self-esteem and my self-confidence was so low that I was like, oh, I better marry him because nobody else will marry me.
Oh.
And so that was kind of hard because, it's not that I loved him and I adored him and what you know at that age because I'd never really dated anybody. And the ones I did date was 2 or 3 months because I was scared to death I was going to do something wrong. Or I was going to screw up. And, I was a Christian, so you just didn't screw up. You just didn't do that. And I thought, I don't want to get myself in that position because they're not a Christian, but, so I break up with them. And so with him, it was like, okay, well, he's in church and, he's been raised like I was, so surely this is the right thing to do. So you just marry that because what if you don't have that chance again? So it's like, okay. And I was hoping that he would love me as much as I loved him, but you don't know.
You don't know.
So,
You really don't know what love is.
yeah, you don't know what that is.
It's just your spirit talking to you just a little bit, And how about you?
I think it was the comfort and the stability of it. I mean, I would not advise anyone to get married that young. Now, I know people have done it, and so, we were coming up on 29 years of marriage. And we'll get into some of that here in just a little while, but I wouldn't advise anybody to get married that young. I didn't know, I didn't know a lot. And then with what was going on in my home life, looking for that, I guess, that constant factor, the stability of it, and I felt we had good conversations, and I was at ease around her without the stress of what was going to happen and what could possibly happen.
You had a rough.
It was interesting. My mom was a great mom, but mom played a multitude of roles trying to raise me, and she did. If it hadn't been for my mom, I don't know where I'd ended up because of some of the other instability that I experienced, and so on and so forth. But so that's what I was looking for, and that's what I felt around her, and so I gravitated towards that. There's comfort. There's safety. So
and through your sermons, I learned some things from you. I actually learned a lot because I like how you preach. You preach about yourself, and that's kind of like what I do too. But it resonates with you, And you have some insecurities too.
And that's still a battle. I mean, to this day, that I have to work through. Is the insecurities or the self-esteem issues just because of things from my past, and so what happens is it pushes you to become performance-driven, which I'm very task-oriented, so I got to get this task done, that task done, this task done, and sometimes you forget why you're trying to achieve all the tasks to enjoy the moment.
And that's what when you got into ministry, a lot of people relied on you to do a lot of things, and you want to do a good job.
Exactly.
And I know that for a fact because working with you for this past year and a half. And it's that he wants to do. You're like, just we feeding off each other and stuff like that. So, do you going into the marriage and ministry thing? How did that play a role in your marriage? Trying to balance those two things.
Well, it was interesting because the same year that we got married is also basically, I guess, the same year where we went, full fledged into the ministry. Or I preached my first revival that same year, and so it was all right there culminating together. She's working a couple jobs and I'm working 3 jobs and going to school, going to college full time and so on and so forth. It was a whole lot. That first year, it's a miracle we survived the first year of trying to get everything accomplished. So starting off in the ministry and trying to, I had the right briefcase, I had the right suit, I had everything, the right tie, in my mind, that's what everything was supposed to be. So you try to emulate everybody else and make sure that you look successful and that you have the appearance of what needs to be. And that can add a lot of stress, especially just starting off in the marriage.
Yeah, and I wanted him to thrive. I wanted him to shine. I wanted him to, because see, when we got married, we only dated on weekends, and it was either Friday or Saturday because he worked and I worked. And we only saw each other on Wednesday nights at church. And thank God for revivals because we got to see each other every night if we could. So we didn't know each other. So we literally got married, and I don't even think I knew his favorite color. I mean, that was just, oh Lord. That's why when I think back, you're bringing up a lot of, oh my goodness.
Because it seems like, in relationships, we change. During relationships. So with y'all relationships, like y'all still trying to figure each other out, and then y'all got busy.
Yes, exactly.
And then a lot of changes came.
Yeah.
And then now we back to reality.
Yeah. And so that's what, when you get married like that, first of all, you're young. Second of all, you have, family baggage that you didn't know you had. Like he didn't know my family issues and I didn't know his family issues. And we got married into that, and you bring those two together, and then you bring ministry into it. It was like overwhelming, but we just adapted and thought that's what we were doing, and we thought we were doing it. And I wanted him to shine, and I wanted him to do so. I was always with him everywhere we went, even though I worked a full-time job. if we had to be somewhere that afternoon, I'd get off work, we'd go there, we'd be there till at that time, church went all night and you didn't get out till 10, 11 o'clock, and then you get up the next morning, you go, and we did many, many, many years of that, all throughout the week and all throughout the weekend. We'd have several, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and back then we had church Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. And so then we did things in between, so it was a lot.
Well, and then on top of that,
hold on, Pastor Dave. Lesson number 1: before you get married, just right here. Okay, unpack those bags.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Let people see. Let your spouse see what they're dealing with. In the engagement area, or if you boyfriend girlfriend now. If you feel like this is the one, start unpacking some of them bags. I'm trying to tell you, it'll save you a ton of trouble. All right?
Because if you think that you're going to go in the marriage and it'll all work out, or they don't have to know that, it's going to come up in the marriage, and then you'll have to deal with it at whatever point.
It's so easy to think like that.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
They don't need to know that part.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Like when I got married, I'm like, everything was going to line up.
Yeah. Because wow, we got Jesus, and Jesus.
Yeah.
And see, in my mind, and this is one of the things, that I had to learn, and unfortunately I lost a lot of good years because I didn't know it at the beginning. It was, we would take, and we were gun-ho church, and I'm not saying that's bad, please don't take that's not what I'm saying, but I didn't know how to balance it again, performance-driven, task-oriented, get the task done and move on. And so what ended up happening is we get 1 week of vacation a year. Well, we would go on a church trip. We would take the students somewhere. We would go, we never took that time for us. It wasn't until a lot later in our marriage that we actually took a week together on a vacation. It was church. And then when I graduated college, I went to work for RJ Reynolds in the IT department and was working there. And so I was putting in 40 hours there, and then I would come to the church and I was working 30 hours here because I'm part of the, I'm earning my keep. I haven't gone full time yet. That happened in February of 01. Hadn't gone full time yet, but this was in the late 90s, and I got to make sure I'm doing that. Church, I got to keep church up. And
I heard that was real, like it was different than now.
Yeah, very different.
Do you have any resentment against me because I didn't have to go through something?
And see what happened is 2 things that happened. Again, performance oriented. I'm trying to make sure everybody's happy with my job. And by the same token, I'm working full-time job. I'm providing money, but I'm also doing church stuff. At that time, fully volunteer, all that. But I was leaving her behind. She's pushing me to succeed and to make sure everything's happening. And you get caught up in a whirlwind. You get caught up in a whirlwind of forgetting those that are around you. And I was guilty of that. And, so how did it affect my marriage, ministry and marriage at the same time? Not having the teaching. This is why counseling is a major deal. Right. I didn't have counseling before we said I do. I didn't have counseling, ministerial counseling, to figure out how do you even handle ministry when I started out. So it was learning everything by the seat of my pants. We were learning everything together on how to communicate and how to love and how to even make marriage successful, one thing at a time on our own. And I know we all learn stuff on our own. I'm not saying that's not the case, but we didn't have those mentors speaking into us. I'm a huge proponent of mentors now. Oh Lord.
Yes.
And so how did it affect us? It threw me into a tailspin because I didn't know how to balance the load. And, it cost me a lot of things.
So my producer looking at me a little weird here because it's almost time to close out, but we're going to do a part 2, but we do want to say this verse, and we're going to get more in depth into their relationship because it's a testimony, and it's just a blessing that they are here now, right? And so my wife going to read this scripture, right. And we want y'all to say what you feel about this, what brings out of it,
All right, 1 Timothy 5:8. This is the English Standard Version. But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever.
What that sticks out to you in the past, not now, of course, but
what does that mean to me? Basically, keep everything in the correct perspective. Keep the the concept of both ministry, work, doing what you're supposed to do for God, which we're all called to minister in some way. It's not all about a platform. We're all called to be ministers. But by the same token, don't forget those that are around you in your own household. Because what good do we do if we win the world and we lose our family? What have we accomplished? And that's what that scripture means to me.
And so we're going to go in with a closing on this because how he affected me when he preached. He preached one time and explained how he almost forgot his family doing God's work. And verses tell us that family is part of God's work. And it reminded me because when I was working at my other job before I became the student pastor here, I worked so much. And then when he preached that, I cannot forget about my family because I'm working for my family. I'm working for us to have a homes, everything. And I cannot forget that. And he been through it, and we're going to get into that the next part too. All right?
Sounds good.
All right, I say goodbye.